Hey Jim, I thought I'd do something differently. You had asked about possibly seeing sort of a progress shot. I don't normally do them because I'm not set up to do them. So as you can see, I'm holding my phone by my hand right here. But I thought I'd show you a couple of things because it's some interesting stuff about how these watches work. Firstly, here is your dial and your rotating ring. Look at how beautiful your dial is. It's so nice. And it is dated June on the back, which is great. Anyway, here is your main plate. What this does is this allows me to show what I see when these things come apart. So that's the main plate, and here is the train bridge. The train bridge sits on top of the movement, just like, I'm kind of doing things backwards here, kind of like that. That's how it sits on there. So that's that big circle there, that's the top and the bottom of the mainspring arbor. The mainspring arbor is this axle that's in the middle of this thing. That's the barrel. So you can see, do you see the corrosion that's on there? See that green stuff? That's copper that got pulled out of the main plate. Water must have gotten in here and sat right there. You can see what I'm seeing here. You can't really tell in this magnification, but it's really worn out. The port right there, it's worn, it's blown out on one side, blown out over there. And I'm seeing corresponding wear on this plate as well, on that hole. Again, it's going to be hard for you to really, darn it, it's going to be hard for you to really see that. But trust me, it's there. If you look carefully, you can kind of see that one side is kind of pushed out because it's worn. So what needs to happen with this is I go in here and I machine this out. I machine out that piece. And what I do is I press a jewel into place there. And I replace this bushing. So what that does is it stops, because this stuff, it's all worn. And the barrel, which is sitting in here like this, like there, that starts to wear, and the whole barrel just starts to tilt like crazy. Actually, it starts to tilt like this. And then it gets all floppy and it bleeds off power. So that's what needs to happen. The rest of your movement's in there, just waiting for the cleaner. Your case and all that stuff is in my ultrasonic already, and it's soaking, getting ready to go through. But yeah, I've got to go in, and we're gonna machine that out. We're gonna get rid of it, and we're gonna replace that bushing right there. And of course, I'm gonna take your barrel apart completely. This is filled full of old gruck and junk. So we'll do that, and it'll be much happier when we're done. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the main plate after I installed the jewel, and I put everything through the cleaner. So you can just see it there. So there's the jewel, see it? There it is, in the mainspring arbor port right there. Jewel nice and in place, exactly as it ought to be, everything nice and clean. So that's how we cure it, and then we make it all better. Okay? Okay, next stage. Hey Jim, okay. And there we go, all back together and all clean. This is about 24 hours, maybe a little less. It's not bad for running at half power. That's pretty excellent. There she blows. So nice and so clean. Okay, let's talk about the things that we found. The movement was generally good. It was clean, it was shiny, it was pretty. It had a few bad parts. Somebody wasn't careful, I think the thing was, is that it had sort of a short-ish working life. Because the things that were damaged are things that usually happen when, I don't know, somebody's sort of pushing on the watch a little bit. So the crown was broken, obviously. The crown and stem was broken, so somebody dropped it or whacked it or pushed it or something, and that's gone, and all those parts were out. The 30-minute counter wheel was broken. The pinion on the back was broken. It had been broken for a long time. The port was actually a little rounded out. It wasn't really seriously damaged, but it was a little rounded out. And the lever for the date quick set was bent. It was twisted like this, and that usually happens when the date is misaligned and somebody was really pushing on it, which could well have been why the crown was broken. Anything's possible. I mean, maybe that was it. Maybe those two things go together because one does push the other, and maybe they were pushing on the date really hard and they broke that lever. Okay, so let's look at the things. So we have, this is the remains of your old stem right there. That's your remains of your old stem. I'm really having trouble getting that to focus on there. Hang on just 1 second. Let me try and get this down a little closer. Oh, that might be a little better. Okay, so that's the remains of your old stem. This is your minute counter wheel right there. That's what that thing is. So that you see how it's just flat across the bottom? You should see a little pinion sticking out right there. You should see a little stub sticking out there, but you don't because it's broken. And this is the date quick set lever. And yours is just twisted. It might be hard to see, but it's a little tweaked over one side, so it wouldn't move nicely. The last thing I had to do is your day wheel was not aligned correctly, so I had to index it to get it to align correctly, and then I had to fix it in place basically so that it didn't rotate out again. About the stem and the crown and stuff like that. Now, normally I would use an aftermarket crown, but they're slightly wrong, and I can see that they're slightly wrong. Internally they work fine, but the crown, the dish either is too deep or it's rounded, which is wrong. So what I did actually with yours is I used an original crown. I have almost none of these. So that's an original crown. So your watch is 100% original. Completely original, genuine Seiko. The whole thing. And there it is. I have your bracelet over there. It's all clean. It's sitting on my parts dryer, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But we'll get that on there. Oh, by the way, I was talking about the date being, the date on the back of the dial being June, and I was not thinking clearly on that. The date on the back of your dial was January 1976. Your watch was made in February 1976, and so the dials are almost always dated a month before the watch. I don't know why, but they almost always are. So your dial is original to your watch. Isn't that nice? So, but I saw the 6 and I thought June, and then later when I was like, oh, it's 1976. I had my numbers backwards. There it is, all of its glory. That's a nice watch. Okay. There you go. You saw the whole thing. Okay, thank you.